Good evening to everyone. Good evening to everyone. Good evening. Good evening. We said that we were going to start at 6 o'clock. We're going to make sure that we start promptly at 6 o'clock. I'm going to open us up in a word of prayer. Then we're going to proceed with our budget town hall meeting tonight. It is my desire to be able to debunk all the rumors that you've heard about where we are, how much money we got in the bank, we broke. I've heard several different amounts that have been given for the amount of outstanding bond obligations that we have. I've heard 173 million. I've heard 116 million. On a good day, I've heard 114, 113. My desire tonight is to be able to give you the correct information that when you walk out of the room, you can become a positive mouthpiece for the city of Irondale. Why would you want to stay in the city and pray for that city to fail? That's not a very smart person to me, but who am I to determine who's smart? Because on my best day, I'm shining like a 25-watt light bulb. And I don't even think they make 25s. They may do 20s. But I'm going to go ahead and open a word of prayer. And then we will spend about an hour to an hour and a half. My goal is to be able to get everyone out about 7:30. But if you want to stay longer than that, you can. I may get into the Costco coming to the city of Irondale, or as some say, that it's not coming to the city, or as some said, that it took 4 years, 9 months, 4 locations. And I use this as a political ploy to announce it on July the 29th. Trust me, if I could have announced it before then, I would have told the story in year 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'll go ahead and open this up in a word of prayer, and we'll proceed with having a great time talking about the city finances tonight. Oh, gracious God, we thank you for allowing everyone to come into this place. If there's anything that is hindering anyone from being able to hear your voice, not my voice, so that they could be able to grasp the correct information, that when they leave this place, that they wouldn't continue to keep telling the same lies that feed their narrative, and that we can all grow together as a city to be the great city that you've designed for us to be. I ask that you empower me and give me the right words to be able to say. Allow me to be able to be fruitful, to be impactful, but also to be a great representative of you. I offer up these words in your son's name. Let everyone say amen. Now, the first question that I want to ask you, and maybe you all can help me to understand this, because from time to time, I become quite perplexed about what's going on in the city. But why do we have an individual that do not live in the city? This person is not a financial expert, but they have the ability to tell you everything that's going on in the city financially. Is there anybody out there that want to help me, provide me with an answer before I proceed with giving you the right information? Because like I said, some days I'm a bright bulb, sometimes my dimmer is on. Tonight I'm gonna try to be bright, but I need you all's assistance to be able to help me. So does anyone want to share or to be able to give me insight why we have this smart person that is not even a part of the city to be able to share financial information and then try to dictate to us what we need to do in our city? Can I get new math? That sounds good. I never heard that one before. But thank you. All right, I never heard that one either. But be careful what you ask for when you're in open forum and you ask people to give you questions. Well, disgruntled could be one. But guess what I'm gonna do tonight? See, I'm here tonight to give you the truth, the unadulterated truth about everything that's going on in the city, especially when it comes to finances. Which means you can believe me or you won't believe me. But what I will say that if you don't believe me, all the information that I'm sharing with you, your counselors have that information. And they should be able to give it to you if you don't want to believe me, because they got all the data. Every month, they get the financials. Every month, they get the bank statements, the actual bank statements with all the amounts on it. When I give you an amount, don't believe me. Go ask your city councilor to be able to give it to you, because they have all of this information at their disposal. But I'm going to tell you tonight why this person is so disgruntled with the city. And the reason that they are unhappy with the city, because in 2014, when I was the city clerk and we opened our insurance broker's job up for bids, and this person didn't get the bid. Matter of fact, this person told me they were entitled to get the bid because their business is in the city of Irondale, and because Mayor Alexander told his daddy in 2012 that he would get the business once he became the mayor. So you ought to know that was the backdrop to the context of what was going on. Well, that wasn't enough. This person was so upset that they came to a city council meeting to speak to the council, to tell the council that I wasn't doing my job. They stood right here, told the council why they should get the job. The council didn't respond. They ran out of this door, almost broke this door, and tore down the glass door that was outside. Then we decided to put it up for bid again. And this person figured out that, well, if I can just be cozy with the city clerk, I don't have to be qualified. I just got to be cozy, have a good relationship. Then he would overlook that I've never insured a municipality. A municipality is very complex. It's not like an individual dealing with your own homeowner's insurance. We have so many different facets to go along with what we do. It would be irresponsible to hire somebody that don't know how to deal with it. We put it up for bid again. The person didn't meet the qualifications. They asked me, could you remove that you had to have any experience working with municipalities? Now, you all tell me, do you think that would be fair to design a bid? Thank you. I finally got you all to give me an answer. But I couldn't do that with a good conscience. Just remove a stipulation just because your business is in the city of Irondale. And as you state, you pay $25,000 in occupational license fee, so that should give you the right to say whatever you want to say in the city. Well, what about motions? They pay more than that. Church of the Highlands, they pay more than that. Which leads me to say, because you pay the most money, does that give you the biggest voice? Well, we did it the right way. We ended up hiring McGriff. They are the insurance broker for the city. They've been doing the job for the last 2 years. And that's why we have the town crier on the internet criticizing the city, all because they didn't get a contract. It's amazing. When they get the contracts, they support you. But when they don't get the contracts, they criticize you. Any questions about why I'm sitting here tonight with you, getting ready to go through the city finance? She's very close to you. Very, very, very. And exactly. She understood. Even when I came in and did it the first time, I didn't realize that we had so many employees that loved two ladies that were actually handling a certain portion of the insurance for the city. And when you're smart, every now and then you kind of listen to what people are saying. And the people around here love Aflac. They love it. And I came in and upset everybody. But I quickly learned that, hey, you got to do a 180 sometimes. And it's been a wonderful relationship to be able to work with them. But that's really the story. And I'm quite sure when you go home tonight, I say it every time I talk, we always have Peter in the room. And Peter, when you leave tonight, before the rooster crows 3 times, I know you'll put out a different story about what the city finances look like, what Mayor Stewart said, and I expect that. So please don't let me down. Not that I read Facebook, but I do have people around me that supply me with the information that I need. I hope that clears up our first, I call it in Christian was supposed to bring my book with me. But when I was getting my master's at UAB, I had to write a term paper on big data. And it was called Lies, New Data, Big Data, how you can find out what people, how you can find out what a person really thinks just by tracking what they do on the internet. And he didn't get a chance. He didn't get a chance to find it for me. I couldn't find it. But if you all want any late night reading to know how people lie, it's a good big book to read, especially when it comes to dealing with data. I don't know. Kathy, I just keep it moving. I let God kind of take care of all that other stuff because, and the reason that I say that, and trust me, I'm not trying to be super spiritual about the whole deal, but at the end of the day, one day I was in prayer and God said, you know, your friends don't promote you, but your haters do. So I love haters because the more they hate, the more the city grows, the more popular it becomes, and more good things happen. I need 20 more haters to jump on board. And Lord knows we don't know what may happen if we could be able to pull that off. But I'm going to start with my presentation over here on the board. Also, I have the printout for Costco. If anybody wants to see that before you go home tonight, I have the layout, store, elevations, and all of those good things. If you live in Bainbridge, I met with Mr. and Mrs. Lee. I had a chance to be able to share with them. They live on Bainbridge Way. They also grew up in the state of Washington, and they were from the city that is the headquarters for Costco. And I shared with them all of that information, and they said that they would go back to the community and be able to share. But if you would like to come down to City Hall, and for me to be able to do that with you, I'll do it with you as well. Okay. These are some of the disinformation items that I've heard. It's about 27. I'm not going to read all of them to you tonight. I'm going to pick out my favorites. Okay, one of my favorites is number 2. I believe that a debt of 114 million for the city with only 13,500 people in an issue is an issue. Irondale has the highest per capita debt ratio, 8,500 per citizen of any municipality in the state. I got something for you all tonight. You all didn't expect that you were going to. Well, let me ask you this. How many people thought you would come to this meeting tonight and you would get an invoice? You get an invoice. I mean, you owe $8,500. I can ask Lee. I don't think we've had anybody to come down to the revenue department and pay for it. But tonight, we're going to make sure you pay for it because we're going to give you an invoice to take home. It's payable over, no, it's payable over 10 because we're going to call those bonds and we're not going to go to maturity. So, but make sure you get your bill before you leave. If not, we're going to chase you down. I got a merchant out there standing at the door, so we got a police officer. He's not going to let you out until you get your bill. All right. Number 4, 2024, the audit shows that Irondale long-term debt includes interest of $173,298,986. How many people ever purchase your house and you have a mortgage? With that mortgage comes what? And what else? And what else? Kim can't answer. See, she answering the questions and she just happened to stay in the house with me, so she knows the answers. Thank you. Insider trading. Well, it's really the amortization schedule. When you buy your house, you get an amortization schedule. It shows what you will pay if you pay it to maturity, 30 years. But how many people pay their home off before 30 years? Same thing here. Same philosophy. So it's not where we owe 173,298,000. I have a slide here that's going to show you all exactly what we owe. One of the things that's real crazy to me is this. Lee got the correct information from our underwriter to say exactly what the amount of the debt is through July of 25. But we still have some people that are hell bent on using the audit from 2024. Why would you want to use the old information when you have the new information unless you're trying to be divisive? Like I said again, I'm not the brightest bulb in the bunch, but that one's pretty simple for me. Let me give you all one more. Oh, I like this one right here. Mayor Stewart. Acquisition cost of the Zamora Temple complex was $5 million. If you add $19 million or $20 million for renovations costs to this total cost for Irondale taxpayers, it would be $24.96 million or $25 million. Why are you spending $25 million on a new civic center? The city of Irondale debt has increased by $70 million since you took office. Well, about a year ago, I came to you all to share and to say that we have 8 generational projects that we're getting ready to do in the city, and it's going to be $60 million to be able to do those projects. And after all, when everybody or 75% of the people who voted for the property tax increase said, Mayor, we don't want you to use this money on operating costs. We want you to be able to do things that we can see, we can touch, we can feel, and we can enjoy. Well, we did exactly what you requested through Blueprint Irondale, through the tax referendum, and we still get criticized for doing exactly what you asked us to do. I don't know of a lot of administrations and politicians will tell you something and execute what they said that they were going to do, and then they get criticized for doing what you asked them to do. Politicking, I call it insanity. I call it, that's for insane people to ask you to do something, you do what they ask you to do, and then they criticize you for doing that. But these are just some of the outlandish things that I have heard over the last year. Even the one, like I said, Costco not coming. I just got up and made that stupid announcement to you all because I want to be your mayor for another 4 years. They call it insanity. I hadn't heard that one. Maybe. Oh, okay. See, that's too fresh off the press for me, Mr. Hollingsworth. But we can add that. We still got space for three more. We can call it our top 30. Vanna, you okay? Vanna, you got a Vanna. You got to give him the microphone. Okay. But the listening individuals on Facebook, you're good.
Facebook that we missed the bond payment.
Oh, okay. Lee, you know anything about that? Okay. Who makes the bond payments? Okay. All right. Now, if I was making the payments, I can say that the payments missed because the difference between when I was the city clerk and with Lee being the city clerk. Now, when I was the city clerk, the Bank of New York would be calling me on the morning that it was due to say, Mayor, have you wired the money for us to be able to pay your general obligations? Lee pays the general obligations a month in advance. There is no way under her leadership that we missed anything. And trust me, if we missed the bond payment, it would be all over the news. I mean, it would be where we would have to fill out paperwork to notify the bondholders. I mean, it would be a mess. Our credit rating would drop. There would be a lot of stuff that would be going on. It'd probably be, we wouldn't be able to go to the market for quite some time if we missed the bond payment, because that's something that you just don't do. Right. City of Irondale is broke. Did you all know the city was broke? Came out yesterday too. Well, reality check. The bottom line is this. As of July the 25th, we got $2 million in surplus for the FY25. We have $17 million in reserve. We have $15 million in our general fund. We have $2 million in our water reserve. We have $26.5 million in the bank in restricted and unrestricted funds. And oh, by the way, we still have a AA rating, because some of the comments were, well, the city's rating is getting ready to drop because when they borrowed that money, it wasn't a part of when they gave them their rating. That shows you how much a person know about the bond market, because they wouldn't dare give you $60 million and not attach that to their job of being able to do the bond rating. But this is the truth. Oh, and this is the one that I like the most. We have 200 days of operating cash on hand. If the city did not bring in $1 for the next 7 months, we would still be able to sustain our operations. I've already covered that. We are financially strong. Oh, was anybody taking snapshots of the slides? I don't want to not allow somebody to walk out with the correct information. Maybe you'll go home and post it on Facebook tonight when you get there that, well, the mayor was there and this is how much money he said that we have in the city. Anybody? Like I said, I want to give everybody equal opportunity. Okay. All right. Well, all right. The city has $173 million in bond debt and we don't. I've already covered that. It's just like if you paid it out to 2054, we would owe that amount. I never seen a bond issue that goes to maturity. It never goes 30 years because you always have a call period. And our call period for these bonds will be 2034. And if I had a crystal ball and could tell you what's going on in the economy, I can tell you right now what we're going to do. And it's always like I share with, if I could dictate or if I understood what was going to happen in the economy 4 years from now, I would not be sitting 21 $100,000 a year, I would be in New York on Wall Street working for some big brokerage house, and I would be forecasting for them and helping a whole lot of other people make a lot of money while I'm making commission off of them making money. This is the breakdown of the general obligation bonds that we have. The top line here is what we have at the city, $59,025,000, and then we have what is called the Public Building Authority, which is $41,920,000, and this is the correct total as of July the 25th. $100,945,000. So it's not 173. It's not 116, 115, 113, 106, or 107. This is the correct amount, 100,945,000. And the other thing that people like to do to be able to mislead you or to give you the wrong information, this 41,920,000 is actually a lease, because we created the Public Building Authority. We gave the buildings to the Public Building Authority. The Public Building Authority borrowed the money to be able to do the construction for the library. And then we basically are leasing that building back from them by paying the amount that is due. That's the correct definition for the difference between a PBA, Public Building Authority, and the general obligation. They are not the same, even though we have people to try to lump them in to be the same. And the reason that they're doing that, because they're trying to be manipulative. They want to paint a picture of things that are bad. You know, my thing is this. If I lived in a place, and I used to say this at the post office, when I worked at the post office, this is what I used to tell the employees. There's no way I would get up every morning and come to a job that I hate, because there's too many other jobs that are out there. Well, the moral of the story is this. There's no way I would live in a city that I wanted that city to fail. I think I would go to another city where I can prosper and they can be the penny pinching little stewards that you all would love to have. Not this steward. See, y'all didn't get it. Steward. All right. But those figures right there are true. The city can't afford its bond payments. I guess Emma did hear that one, Councilman Box, because she put that up there. And the true answer is this. This year, the city paid $6.2 million in bond payments. It's 16% of our annual budget. And we've paid all of our bond payments through July, which means that we've made all of our payments for the year. Bond payments are due 4 times a year: January, April, July, and then October. The city has runaway, unnecessary spending. Let's see, did I hit too many? I go to... Major approved projects, $46.2 million. We have it broken down on here. Tales by the Rails, Irondale Public Library, Ruffner Park, Fire Station, Irondale Civic Center. We have what's the source of the funding that is in this line there. We have the contractors, the people that was responsible for doing the work, and that is the cost of each one of those major projects. And if you can read the disclaimer down at the bottom, all major projects have been paid out of the $60 million that we borrowed to be able to do what we said that we were going to do. When you hear people say every time we have a project, oh, they're getting ready to go borrow more money. Oh, the money's already been borrowed. The money was borrowed in August of 24. And as of yesterday, we still have about $33 million sitting in those bond funds to complete the remainder of the projects. Capital projects are putting our essential city services at risk. Have you all missed any city services? Uh, well, they should be doing that. I mean, we spend too much money. Why would we want them to be able to have things that they can really do the job in? When I first came into office, and this is no lie, I went over to Public Works and I got into one of the trucks, and they actually had a piece of plywood in the floor. A piece of plywood in the floor for the workers to be able to continue to do what they do. And I said, Mr. Hollingsworth, you know a lot about our city operations back in the day. That's your job. All right. Well, legit or lie? How many say it's legit? Oh, raise your hands now. You all get pretty brave on Facebook by saying stuff. Huh? I don't know. You all share it with me. You all have no problem putting it on Facebook. So I mean I don't know, Miss Sharon. I'm mind boggling too, because I know one day you came and sat with me and I walked you through the entire city finances. And then about 2 weeks later, maybe amnesia had set in or something, but you went out and kept telling the same story before you and I had the meeting. Okay. All right. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Truth for the taxpayers. City services continues without cuts. We hadn't laid anybody off. We don't plan on laying anybody off. Matter of fact, I've heard we pay the people around here too much anyway. I'm thinking about becoming an employee. When you're the second highest paid employee in Jefferson County, you only pay 6% of your health insurance. You got 14 holidays, 2 personal days. I mean, you name it, they get it here. Sometimes I'm envious of what they receive here at City. Exactly. Oh, and another thing, I did want to say this too. I did not give the employees a raise in July. Boo, did you? Oh, because they were coming to talk, Mayor, we missed something on our check. And I said, what do you all mean? They said, well, there's a story out there that you gave us raises in July and we didn't see it on our check. I said, well, you all know I can't do that. That's a function of the city council. I don't remember a resolution going out for us to be able to do that. But I hate to break everybody's heart. Get a raise in July. And you get the microphone. Product. Oh, that is pretty cool. Oh, improvements increase property values. Now, one of the things that I want to say about this, because number one, we cannot increase your property tax no more than what it is today. 62.5 mils. It would take a legislative act for us to be able to increase your property tax. Property tax are increased by going through a tax referendum, which means you will have to vote for that to happen. That's not something that we can just go down to Jefferson County tax division and say, hey, increase everybody taxes by a certain millage. Second thing is, I've heard people say, well, when the tax increase went into effect, my property values and everything went out of the roof, and the city was responsible for that. And the city wasn't responsible for that. Matter of fact, we froze increasing the property tax for a year to give everybody an opportunity to adjust, to know that when it came 24, that your taxes were going to go up. Third thing, because you live in a great city, we had the highest appreciation rate of all the municipalities in Jefferson County when it comes to property values, which went up 60% in a 5-year period. That's why you had the increase, not because we did it something that was out of the ordinary. It's just that it's good for our community for everything to be growing and to prosper. And sometimes you have to pay a little bit more for that. But then we want a lot of amenities and we like a lot of cool things, and those things come with a cost. We are obligating our children to an unmanageable level of debt. Well, on one end, I hear that our schools are so bad we don't have any children. Which means maybe I just need to let the schools just go to run, and then we won't have any children, and then the children won't have any debt because there won't be any children here to pay for it. But when we begin this project process, one word that I always kept saying was, these are generational projects. Nobody in this room should bear the full brunt of these projects. That's why these buildings will last for 30 years. They will be paid off before then. But we need to make sure that every generation has the opportunity to pay the cost for all of the amenities that we have in the city of Erndale. Debt repayment. Bond debt will be repaid over 20 to 30 years from various revenues. We have opportunity, and I talked about it, that all bonds have a call provision in it for about a 10-year period. We received these bonds in 2024. The call date will be on 2034. The city isn't transparent about its finances. There are only, I believe, 3 cities in the state of Alabama that has this software program called ClearGov. How many of you all monthly go out there to look to see how the city is doing financially? We got 2 people and 1 work for the city. Well, let me ask this question. Do you really care? Or do you really trust the people that are running the city? That's what I wanted to hear. I really wanted you all to say the second one more than anything. But these are, if you really want to know about what's going on in the city of Erndale, you can come to City Hall. I'm here Tuesday. Well, I'm here more than that, but if you want to come down on a Tuesday or Thursday from 3 to 5, we can sit down and go through this information. We have our budget and our audit on the city website. We have budget town hall meetings like we're having today, Facebook and YouTube recordings. You can go back and do that. Whenever you have a bond issue, and this is not our Emma, but it's the Emma where you can go get the official statements, the bonds. If you want to see the maturity rate for all of the bonds, when they're going to be paid, all that stuff is public information. You just got to have the desire to want to go out there and get it. Unless you want me to come to your house, sit down with you at your computer, download it with you, and read it to you, there's no way that you should not know about what's going on in the city of Erndale. And then the city councilors get monthly budgets and they get the bank statements. I don't know what else we can do. Councilman Box?
Some additional account numbers. Got we've been through progress that Pointers and Leeds almost got looked at.
It sounds good. So that covers the transparency issue. I always hear a lot of times we're not transparent. We don't tell folks, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm gonna just be honest with you. When it comes to, I mean, if you're doing real economic development, you don't do real economic development by telling people what's going on each way that you. Well, I met with this person, and we decided to do this or whatever. When we were working with Costco, when we got to the last. When we got to getting them to Maserati, I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't talk to the attorneys. I didn't talk to the underwriters. I said, because if anybody blow this last chance, it's going to be me. Because I didn't even tell the council. I had them to come in one time for an executive session and share it with them. And 4 of them trusted me enough to be able to bring it to the finish line. All right. Will you all come pass out everybody's invoice? Yeah, you all thought you all were going to get out the door. Let me get one of those, Lee. I will. Thank you. Are we gonna put them in the mail? If you how many people in here received their voters information to know where you vote? Well, that means we got your address. We're gonna send you your bill too. Exactly. And also, Emma, can I get you to pass out my other? Let me keep one of those. Does anyone need an additional invoice to take home to give to your neighbor? Does anybody need an additional invoice that you need to take home to give to your neighbor? Because we want to make sure that everybody pays $500. We got extra invoices if you need them. We don't want anybody to be left out. All right. We're going to go through our invoice pretty quickly, but you can see that this bill went to every lovely tax-paying, lawn-mowing, event-attending citizen of Irondale. Yes, that means you. If you've come to the 250 community events that we put on and you haven't paid a dime, well, you paying for it tonight. So the item is this. Your portion of your city bonds debt, the cost is $8,500. And we said the quantity is one lucky you. But look what your invoice will pay for. 37.5% will go fixing things you don't notice until they're broken. Roads, pipes, maybe a fountain or two. 25% goes to fancy grown-up things like infrastructure improvements and fiscal responsibility. 18% goes to meetings that couldn't be emails. 11% actually go to the chairs that you're sitting in tonight. Please sit gently because we don't want to have to replace them. We don't have to charge you a little bit more money for that. And then the one that is real outrageous, We charge you 2.5% for coffee, water, Gatorade, and biscuits from Jack's for the men's coffee. This is how your money is working for you. Also, we have a late fee. We strongly worded letter and a city employee sigh loudly. Discount if paid in monopoly money. Still nothing. Important note, this invoice is completely fake. You owe us nothing, except maybe your continued civic engagement and the occasional smile at community events. But hey, if you do want to write a check for $8,500, we won't stop you. Love, your friends at the City of Irondale. Now, how many of you all have actually come down here and brought us a check for $8,500? I mean, that's how crazy the information is that is out there. This is only a figure when they do it based on per capita, the amount that you have out there. But it's not like you actually paid $8,500. Will you all ever pay $500? Probably not, because we work here to be able to grow the city through sales and use tax and all our other revenue streams to be able to provide you with the things that you can enjoy. When I talked to the individuals at Costco, when they came back 2 years later, it was like, we can't believe all this has happened in the city, because when we first started out, there was nothing in the city of Irondale. People want to come to cities where there's things that are happening and ain't nothing going on. I don't know what made people think, well, we just hold money, don't spend any, then our schools will improve and people will want to come stay in our city. No, I have to bust your bubble tonight, but that's not how you grow. Before, if your community, the word about you, they are a go over there to put the implement that we received as a city so far. An individual that's running for vision at the Irondale Library and the Irondale Roughing Up telling his people, well, we can have the same thing that they had over there. People are watching it. We're setting a standard. And we are doing that. My family sitting up here, they talking about getting left. I'm like, no, you get ran over, because I already said the train ain't stopping. Thank you, Jason. So, but at this time, I'll cover the other sheet too, and then I'll take A. You here, and the reason we have this, because whenever I hear people talk about how much debt, I hate that word. Whenever I hear people talk about how much we owe in bonds, they always talk about the liability, but they never talk about the asset. And if you are an accountant, you know that to be able to balance your books, your assets have to offset your liabilities. I mean, that's accounting 101. I mean, I learned that in my freshman year at Tennessee State, that an asset and a liability to make the books balance have to offset each other. Because they talk about all the wonderful assets that we have. I'm going to talk about them to you tonight. And I'll let you take the sheet home with you as well. And you can give this and sow this to some of your friends or neighbors, because my whole thing tonight is to make sure that you got the correct information. I've been very silent on this subject because I thought that the projects speak for themselves, but I also learned that there are some deaf ears in the community and they can't see or don't want to accept what's going on in the city. That's why I'm here tonight to give you the truth, which means that if you leave out of here tonight with a different narrative, that's because you want to have that narrative, not because you love the city, not because you want to be able to do responsible spending, not because we're not good stewards of what we've been entrusted with. You just want to do it because there is something inside of you that does not let you accept what's going on in the city. If you look at this sheet here, I've already covered the amount of bond obligations that we have. I've shared with you that we've already made of all of our obligations. This is more of a reinforcement for you to take with you, which means that if you want to post tonight, maybe you'll post this instead of posting the other junk that's usually on there. So we have Tales by the Rails. The 60 million is tied to these projects that you see here, and you actually have the amounts to take with you. Tales by the Rails was 851,000. Also, I want to let you all know this too, because this is another lie. Oh, they went over budget. They spent more money than they were supposed to spend. When I look at the budget and the bids don't line up. Well, they do line up. When you start any construction project, you start out with a certain amount because you don't know exactly what it's going to be. The real amount is when the bid comes in, not when you're giving estimates, because when you're giving estimates, the scope of the project changes, the amount that you want to spend for the project change. Don't focus on, well, the first time the mayor came to us, he said the baseball fields was going to be $2.5 million. Then when the bid came in, it came in at 8.7. The mayor lied to us because that's a $6 million difference from what he said. But they didn't tell you that the mayor was talking about the estimates. Mayor wasn't talking about the actual bids. Tonight, you have the information that goes along, which was the amount that was approved by our city council. I don't spend any money unless the council approve or authorize for me to do it. So anybody that think that I go and spend money on my own, let me tell you all something. I like white. And I will probably have on white Tuesday, August 26th. But I don't like the white that's down at Maxwell. See, y'all ain't get that, did you? I ain't get that. I don't like the white uniforms down at Maxwell. Yeah, that's a prison. And even though that prison is like a country club down there, I still don't want to go down there to wear white there. So you all ain't got to worry about me doing anything that closely resembles to you all having to send me a care package down to Maxwell. But these are the amounts here for the projects. I'm not going to go through all of them again, but I did want you to be able to tie that the asset is tied to the liability, that this is not a liability that just sits on the books by itself, but we have something to show for it, because people want to lead you to believe that we borrowed $60 million and don't have anything to show for it. Well, take a ride through the city of Irondale and you will see that there's a lot to show for that. And I've already covered everything down at the bottom, bank balances and all that stuff, so you can take that home with you as well. Now we're going to open the floor up for Q&A. Push the button.
Going back, I don't know, a year ago or more, the big deal when it came out, all these tests were done, and forth where the only laboratories and universities that paid billions of dollars, found out all these packets had things. Well, EPA picked up on that, and we were okay on our PFAS until they lowered it. Now we exceed the PFAS because of, what's underneath our feet. Unfortunately, we can't do much about that except clean the water. You know that yourself, myself, and 22 other Ideal citizens showed up at the meeting that you had with the consultant, who was very, I gave him a compliment about it. He was very informative, whatever. And he quoted numbers. He said that he verified we have a roughly $5 million grant in the state, which is good. Now, he said the total cost, which would take between 18 months, 24 months, is $24 million. Now, personally, all of the education that we know about now, I believe most people would say we don't need to put this off because it's detrimental to our health to drink Dyerville water unless there's something to clean it out.
Okay. All right.
And the second thing he said was,
Can I answer your first part? Because I don't want to, with giving the answer. First of all, he did not say that our water exceeded the limit because I gave this report 3 months ago based on the temporary measures that we put in place. Our water now has non-detect. Second of all, the $5.3 million, some people didn't believe that we would get the $5.3 million because they say I hadn't walked. Y'all don't know what the bag is? Okay. That's the slang that the kids use. Another word for money. I walk in here with the bag. Apparently, it didn't happen. But what he did say, Mr. Galletley, that it would take $24 million to put in the permanent measures to get rid of everything. But he also stated that we're in the midst of litigation to make sure that we can get the responsible for allowing this to get into our water system so that the citizens of Irondale does not have to bear the brunt. That's what he said. Okay. I just wanted to make sure because what you said went close to what I just said a few minutes ago. But you can move on to your second question.
I was unaware, but exceeding the allowable to the zero.
Yeah, you were sitting in there. Like you said, it was only 2 to 3 people that was there. Oh, yeah, I'm quite sure you didn't hit the zero. Yeah, you didn't hit the zero. Truth will do that from time to time.
Today, he verified a couple things about potential for a city well. Now, to be unaware, without even mention about a new city well, that would be probably equal to about a 2 million gallon capacity. That's the point.
Well, that's why. Okay. Yesterday. Yeah. That's why I'm here. Like I told you all, I'm here for the truth tonight. Yeah. Well, the truth of the matter is this. You may have missed those council meetings because I'm used to seeing you at all the council meetings. And we did have one that we adopted a resolution for Morrow to go into drill for additional wells because we didn't want to wait till we go through the litigation process to be able to put something in permanent. Also, when we went to ADEM said that we would financially support if you all could find another source of water. We would rather be able to do something like that instead of temporary measures. So that's why he told you we were drilling for a well, because we shared with them that we were going to drill for a well. And if we could find another well on the same aquifer that doesn't have such a high level of PFAS, then that saves us a lot of money from having to put all these other things in place. And that's why we're doing that. Matter of fact, okay, yeah, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. But they were able to drill down 280 feet. And so far, they've got a little, I guess you could say, perspiration coming out of the ground. And they're going to go down a little bit farther to see that they feel that they're pretty close to hitting another well. So hey, everybody put that in your prayers when you go home tonight. Pray for another well in the city of Irondale. Okay. Vanna, we got any other questions? Hmm?
First of all, the first thing you said, the insurance, I was on the council all the time, and I was there about what you said at the time. I also like to mention, that everybody's kind of sharing part of the issue. What you said about the bond raise, we would not have gotten anywhere near that much money if the bond raise had not been active. So I just wanted to kind of mention that. And the other thing is, we moved here 25 years ago, and no mayor before you had built any of the buildings that were replacing. That's why you had so many because we built the time.
So, amen.
Let the church say.
Mr. Mayor, I've been during this election season. One thing that Jefferson County held city hostage. Things straightened up, but the that really put
Thank you. Any more before? Yeah, you go ahead, Councilman London. I'll just hit the. That let you all know what side of the coin he's on, right? Oh,
Oh, when the spies went into the promised land, they came back. You know, like, oh God, we can't do it, we can't do it. Two of them said, yeah, believe that God would help. What are we going to believe? Are we going to believe what may be our natural mind? What our education may be? Or are we going to believe the progress that we've already seen in the Lord help us?
thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We got, depending on how long you all want to be here, but I'm going to just cover a few more things. If this wasn't enough information about the city finances, then on Thursday, August the 21st, from 12 to 1:30 in the mayor's office, we're going to feed you, and we're going to also go into more details about how municipal governments are run, how things run, where the revenue comes from, what are some of the expenses. Like, a lot of people don't know that in a municipal government, you don't have a lot of discretionary income. By the time you get through paying for fire and police and vehicles and all that kind of stuff, you have about 15 to 20% that's left over that you can consider to be discretionary income, which means on a $37 million budget that we have here, about only $6.8 million of that money is discretionary money for us to be able to do other things with that. But if you're not doing anything Thursday, you want to get free lunch, you want to hear about the city finances, I like this part that they put here, that if you want to get it from a expert with 19 years of experience, who do you all think they're talking about? Well, it seemed like I've been around here for a long time because I was city clerk for 8 years, city councilor for 5, and then I've been a mayor for 5. I've been doing this for quite some time, and then before that, I was on the Commercial Development Authority for 7 years. Ever since 1999, I've been involved in some form of fashion here in the city of Irondale, which means I didn't just wake up one morning and decide that I wanted to be a part of the leadership. I paid the dues to be here and to go through the ups, the downs, the highs and the lows, and I love every bit of it. But if you want to know more detail, make sure if you take a picture of this and RSVP with Emma. We know people don't like RSVP, but please RSVP so we can make sure we got enough food. We don't want you to come to a lunch and learn and you just learn, because there's no lunch. But please RSVP if you want to come to that as well. I'm beginning this town hall train series. Last year, we went to more neighborhoods. We did about 11 neighborhoods in a 2-week period, a 3-week period. But so far, everything has been fantastic. We started out at the retreat, and then we went to the Irondale Activity Center on the 11th, and that was probably about 20, 30 individuals that showed up to that. But Stuart Perry office was packed. The villas last night was packed. The train, people are really jumping on the train because they really want to know the truth about what's coming in their community. And it gives me great joy that they've come out to be able to participate. And I'm doing this from my mayor role. So I don't want anybody to think that the mayor's going to these neighborhoods campaigning. Not one time have I said anything to anybody about campaigning. People will ask me that, and I said, no, I'm here to be the mayor. I'm not here to campaign. So I keep all of these. We still got some more stops. We're going to be at Jefferson Christian Academy on the 18th, and that's for Councilman Box area. So if you're in District 4 and you want to come to JCA, they got enough room there for anybody to come to be able to hear about what's going on in the city. Also, you can see that I'm double booked on the train for the 18th. We will also be at the Abington Summit Point, which is the senior living place that is right on Grants Mill Road. Then we'll be back here on the 20th for the north and south and downtown in the Bend. So everything that's down here in this area. So we still got some train rides to flow through the city. If you want to jump on board and get a seat, we'll be happy to see you at all of those events. Coffee with the Mayor. It's at Starbucks Tuesday from August the 19th. We had people to say, hey, I want to come hear you, but I got to get to work. And we decided, well, hey, when you drop your kids off, we're going to be there from 8 to 9. The last time we had it at Starbucks, I think we had people hanging outside the door just to want to be able to hear what's going on in their city. I invite you to come to coffee, biscuit, or whatever. I go in there so much. The last time I went in there, they said, hey, Mayor, can we give you a shirt? We want you to come working behind the counter. I said, no, I just enjoy coming in here, picking up a sandwich every morning and headed down to City Hall. But if you're not doing anything, please come out and participate in that as well. This is the ribbon cutting for the Irondale Civic Center. If you really think about it, this city has never, ever had in the history a single place where everybody could meet. Well, we now have that place. We're going to throw some dirt, as Councilman London would say, on August the 21st, 10 o'clock. We invite you to be there and to be a part of it. I really give, and you all probably have heard me say this, if it wasn't for Brad Doss, we wouldn't be where we were today. Because when we first bought this piece of property, I wanted to tear it down. And Brad saw value in it. And he asked me, Mayor, can I do this up there? Can I do this? And can I do that? And I'm, agreed. It's kind of hard to turn down Brad. I mean, if you all know Brad, Brad's been in this community as long as this community has been here. And it's just hard to turn him down. So every time he asked me for something, I was like, go ahead, Brad, go ahead. And then he finally came back and said that he had like 50 events scheduled without even promoting them. And that's what changed the tide for he and I to begin to talk with Blackstock, one of the architect firms here in the city. We began to have conversations and talk about all the different things, that we can do there. But we're going to be really proud of this facility. You got an indoor fitness center that will have a weight room. And you also have one that will have stuff for aerobics. And guess what? This is for you. And guess how much we're going to charge you? $0. Well, we may have to increase that now to $8,600. But the goal is to make sure that you can take advantage of this facility absolutely free. Splash pad, playground, pavilion, walking track, pickleball, mountain track, amphitheater, and outdoor plaza. If you're not doing anything, please come and join us on August 21st for the groundbreaking for the newly renovated Irondale Civic Center. Also, we're getting rid of the dome. That's one of the most asked questions. Are we going to keep the dome? We're getting rid of the dome, but we have our marketing plan that we're going to do for the dome. Once we tear the dome down, we're going to cut it up in pieces, and we're going to put it in freezer bags, and we're going to sell them to anybody that want to buy them for $25 per bag. If you love it that much, we'll sell you a freezer bag of the Zamora Temple Dome so you can have that for your memorabilia and have that for your collection. No, that's another story right there to put it in the roundabout. But somebody asked me last night when we were at the Villas, they said, what are you going to put in the roundabout? I said, well, I was really lobbying for them to put a statue of somebody about 6'3", handsome, in the middle. In the county, the citizens said, well, hey, yeah, because this was actually posted as a joke. And somebody said, they're going to put the mayor in the middle of the roundabout. And somebody responded, I know they better not put him in the middle of the roundabout. I get tired of seeing him all the time, and I don't want to see him when I'm riding around in my car in the roundabout. And then somebody had to come and say, it's only a joke. Lighten up, people. So that's that. Okay, we're also, I hear people talking about sidewalks. We had a sidewalk project down here. We did for about $600,000. Well, we're doing a ribbon cutting, actually $650,000. And again, we love to feed people. So if you come, we'll give you a little bite to eat at the same time. But we're having a ribbon cutting at 11:30 for the brand new sidewalks. And I think it's going to be out in front of City Hall because City Hall was a part of that. And to me, this is the most significant event that's going to take place in the city of Irondale for the month of August. We're having a prayer walk August 23rd, 8:30, starting at City Hall. We're expecting over 200 people to participate. And this whole thing is about God providing the right leadership for the city of Irondale. We're leaning on God to be able to make sure, allow God to put in here who he wants to put in here. And if we do that, everybody will benefit from it. Even if you can't walk, we'll let you get you a chair, pull up to the flagpole. Because we'll be back in about 20 minutes. We only walk about a mile. If you can't walk, Miss Fowler, you come and you get you a chair. You tell the mayor, say you got a chair. You sit right there at that flagpole, and we'll come back and we're gonna pray at 3 stops. We usually pray at the Bend, the community school, and the Revelation Church. We'll come back here and we'll finish it up. We have 4 or 5 pastors. I've already told them they only got 2 minutes. They probably will take 3 minutes, but I told them they only got 2. And if they start praying too long, I'm going to walk up to them and say, all right now. Exactly. So, but yeah, if you can't, even if you can't do that, just make sure you pray at home. And we're going to have, we're going to celebrate the 138th birthday of the city of Irondale. Ken Ford, the violinist, is going to be the headliner with Kim Scott and with Emily Joseph and the official Clutch Band. If you didn't come to I Love Irondale Day, you will enjoy this event. Again, you can see free admission. We won't charge anybody for anything. And the reason that we don't do that, when you got a $37 million budget and you only allocate $300,000 for community events, that's less than 1%. You mean to tell me we can't pour 1% back into our citizens? If you all tell me no now, I'll tell them to cut these events out. But we just happen to do 250 events since we came in for the administration. And then we're going to have this Cruise In Cinema car show, which will a movie. Emma, did I get it right? Cruise In? Okay. She said I got it right. So we're going to have this where you can bring your car old fashioned like the drive-in. And we're going to also have a movie that we show as well. And we're going to have food trucks, Eugene's Chicken, Loving Lemonade. Now, I think and sliced pizza. And now I think for this, you're going to have to pay. You'll have to pay for the food trucks, but we'll let you see the movie for free. So don't leave your mobile devices at home, your wallet, or any of that kind of stuff, because this one ain't going to be absolutely free. But you will enjoy yourself. And that brings us to the conclusion of the City of Irondale, Building Community, Building the Future, talking about the finances in the City of Irondale. It is now 7:16. Unless you all anybody want to hear the story of Costco? I don't want to bore you all with that. I mean, last week I probably was interviewed 15 to 16 times. Because it is a big event to be able to get it. I'll make sure that I cut it short, keep it about 2 minutes to give you all a quick overview of it. I would love for you to come up and to be able to look at the drawing and how it's going to be laid out. Also, if you're in the listening audience and you live in Bainbridge, I would love to come to your neighborhood to tell you how this layout is not going to affect your neighborhood. If you want me to come to you or you to come to me, we could do it with you either way, but somebody reach out to me from there, or I'll try to get in contact with who's over the HOA to be able to pass the word along. But the way that the whole deal took place, 4 years, 9 months, 4 locations. 4 years, 9 months, 4 locations. It started on a cold winter day. Oh, y'all, why is everybody laughing? That's the truth. That's how it my wife said, my wife tell me, she said, every time you tell this story, you have a different rendition to it. But it started on a cold winter day in January on this lot right here. They invited me to come and meet with the executives from Costco, Sane Associates, myself, and Retail Strategists. And we met there and talked about how we could see this being a game changer for the City of Irondale. And the land was under contract by Retail Strategists, and something broke down in assigning the land to Costco, and that whole deal fell through. Once that deal fell through, and I think maybe you all have seen the letter that I wrote to them. It was posted on the social media about, I just didn't see that we would let this opportunity go. And I wrote a letter, told them how much it would be impactful to the city, how it could be a game changer, how it turns us into a regional player when it comes to getting other things to the city. and somebody heard my cry, and they decided to say, okay, well, give us 3 locations that you want us to look at, and we'll look at those 3 locations, and then we'll see if one of those work, and we'll end up there. Well, those 3 locations was Grants Mill Station, the land next door to Maserati, and the storage place down that is now called Devon's, that is on the main drag right next to Simply Sixes across the street from that. But those were the 3 properties that we gave them to be able to look at. They went to Granson Mill Station first, got to the 2-yard line, couldn't unravel the leases with pickers, and that deal fell through. Then they said, well, what's the next spot, Mayor? I said, well, let's go to the land next to Maserati. We got on that spot, got to the, I guess you could say, half-foot yard line. The only thing that was standing in between them coming to the city and not coming to the city was $11 million. The gas station had a covenant with Benchmark Imports that said that you can bring any retail that you want to be to this spot, but can't have a gas station. And what is Costco known for? Having a gas station. We offered them $5 million just for a piece of paper to say, remove the covenant, they can build a gas station. They didn't agree to that. I drove over to their place of business in Trustville, sat down with them and said, will you sell us the gas station? They said $11 million. I said, okay, we bought the gas station. Then I walked out the door. You all heard me how I said I can't authorize or do anything, or I'd be sitting in Maxwell and White. But I had the audacity to agree to something and hadn't got approval, from the council. But I came back and shared with them. Everybody was on board. There are no attorneys in the room, right? Well, I love attorneys some days I don't. Because when they get in the middle of it, something that is simple becomes very complex. And it ended up falling apart again. Well, we're now in the 4th quarter with only 1 spot to go to, and this is the spot that they said that they didn't want to go to in the first place. I got on the phone, called Deborah McGill Smith. She works for EGS, and she was the listing agent. Then I called Heather Carter, that was down at Jefferson County, that works in roads and transportation. My story is, and I say it all the time, I hate this for you men, but if you want to get something done, you hire women. And those women start to work on figuring out a way to do value engineering to make it cost effective for them to come. When the Heights was built and the Publix was built, there was a runoff issue. And because the county put in a detention pond right next door to Holy Roses, matter of fact, somebody had approached me for a Chick-fil-A to put there, but we ended up, because we wanted to protect the environment, sometimes we get accused of not protecting the environment. That was a very expensive piece of property that could have generated a lot of taxes for the city. But we dug a hole for water to go into, to flow down to the Cahaba River, but to slow down the velocity of the water. And if you don't believe me, ride by there. And if you see that hole is there because it's a detention pond to be able to save the Cahaba River. Once they figured it out, it was a $5 million savings that took place. We went back to the table and began to have the conversations again. And on February or March of 25, the whole executive group came here to City Hall. Nobody even knew who they were because I didn't tell anybody who they were. And everybody's just used to me having meetings where it's a bunch of people that come in anyway. So they didn't even give it a second thought who those executives were. But they came and we sat and talked, and that's how I figured out that it was going to be 1 million ton of rock that's got to be moved. Site work is going to take a year. The cost is $55 million. The entire project is $105 million. That's why it's so expensive, because they have to tear down that hill. Well, we went through that, figured out that, hey, we were in a good place. So here I am, being the optimist that I am every now and then. I thought when we did the state of the city, I said, boy, I'm gonna drop the mic at the state of the city. Wait till I tell them what's coming to the city. No announcement. Then I said, God is good. He's gonna let me do it at the prayer breakfast. God decided that he had a different plan. We had a great program, but I couldn't share the news because I still hadn't received the confirmation from them. Then I finally said, okay, he's waiting for me to make this at my campaign kickoff. And I said, I'm gonna have a trifecta on my birthday. I said, I'm having my birthday, campaign kickoff, and I'm going to announce that Costco is coming at the same time. Then Kim and I was coming from Washington, D.C. We were in Knoxville because I like to fly. Somebody else don't like to fly. And I'll let you all figure who that is. So we're coming through Knoxville, 8:30, and April call. And she didn't just give me an answer. You know how it's when somebody call you and they want to give you the information, but they don't give you the information, so they kind of beat around the bush. So she talked about 5 to 10 minutes. Oh, Mayor, things are great. Mayor, so-and-so, so. I said, April, are they coming or are they not coming? Well, Mayor, they are not coming. They hadn't decided yet. We had a little snafu in the negotiations. And I said, okay. I said, I tell you this. Don't show me a picture of Costco. Don't talk about Costco. I don't want to hear that word until I'm getting ready to pick up a pen that is blue and sign some paperwork. Well, it went 2 to 3 weeks. She wouldn't bring it up. I wouldn't bring it up. I know both of us wanted to talk about it, but she was honoring what I said. Well, July the 21st, 1:30 on a Monday, she called me and said, we got it done. And we called a special council meeting, and on July the 29th at 6:30 in this room, we made the announcement that they were coming to the city of Irondale. Now, I've just been criticized. I've been beat up a lot. But I'm reminded of Roosevelt wrote this thing about you got to get in the arena. And he said, it's the man that's in the arena that get beat up and get marred and scarred and all that kind of stuff. He says it's easy to be outside of the arena, but it's one thing to jump in the arena to be able to do it. And I'm elated and everything. And, people saying, city got all these bonds and we need to get some additional revenue and so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. And then all of a sudden we make an announcement that we got the additional revenue that's coming in, even though it's got an incentive package. And some people focus more on the incentive package and how much we were giving up instead of how much we were receiving. But yet they said, Mayor, go out and get some additional income. But anyway, that's the history and the story. And now it probably will come out. It probably won't come out to Monday. But I've written a blog that's called The Retail Shot That Was Heard Around the State of Alabama. Because we've had people calling from Gulf Shores, Daphne, Florence, and they want to know how are we able to do it? I mean, after all, Huntsville has 235,000 people. Birmingham has 195. Mobile has 192. Mobile has 179, Montgomery has 192, Hoover has 93, Madison has 63, and little old Irondale, 13,545 people, was able to bring the third largest retailer in the United States. Publix is the 15th largest retailer considered to be in the state. I'm going to close with this. With the city of Irondale being able to bring that type of retail into the city, we must be doing something right. I will say this too. We didn't find Publix. Publix found us. since we're here telling the truth. We didn't find Costco. Costco found us. But one thing that people can't say, and although they try to diminish the value that I had and played a part in it, at the end of the day, I can still wake up every morning and say, yes, I didn't start it, but sure did finish it. Therefore, let the work that we've done speak for us. And if our work don't speak loud enough, and if we haven't done enough, then I sure do hate it. But that is my parting shot. Does anybody have any last question? Because it's almost 7:30 and I won't let everybody go home.
When you were gonna,
The municipal complex, I'm glad you asked that because the bid went out this week. We will be opening the bids on September the 18th. Looking forward to proceed in 60 days. Any other questions? Police and courts. Just 2 years ago by Louis Moran and Rob. Yes, he's been out a long time ago. Yeah, he sold it to a Canadian RET before they purchased it from the RET. So that's kind of like the chain of ownership. What's that, Craig? Took me some time to catch that one, Craig. But I'm not responding to that one right there. But yeah, okay, that was good. That was good. But again, thank you all for coming. I told Kim, I said, if I get up here and just give you all a bunch of numbers, that'd be boring. And I wanted to make it as entertaining that I could make it. And I hope that I fulfill that purpose tonight. And also, make sure you pay your invoice by the end of the month. We're gonna send our Officer Hubbard. He's the police officer that goes around to the businesses and make sure they have business license, and also make sure they pay their bills. If you happen to see a police car pulled up in front of your house, that's because you hadn't paid your invoice. But thank you all for coming tonight. I hope you had a good time and enjoying what's going on in the city of Irondale.